So the content comes also with a lot of authors, and Allen Ginsberg is the first one. With the poem Howl, he was introducing us to the Beat Generation, which is a very rebel group. They rebelled against conventional post-World War II morality, materialism, consumerism, war, and embracing spontaneous expression, sexual freedom, alternative lifestyle, spiritual search, and experimentation with drugs. He read this poem and it was very passionate reading, and then he became the target of a landmark obscenity trial, which was just what he wanted to prove: how American society was consumerist, full of mechanization and intellectual conformity. This poem is also expressing sympathy for Walt Whitman because it's written in this long line style and contains also political critiques, some sexual imagery, but it's still one of the most influential poems of the modern era. So these people make up the counterculture of hipsters, those of the forefront of change in the direction of freedom and spirituality. They were very contrasting with their opposite, the beat parlance as squires. Squire culture was considered to be founded on conformism, materialism, moral repression, fear and war and divisionness. We also talk a lot about the theme of madness. It permeates the poem and reflects its prominence in Ginsberg's own life, because his mother spent a few years in a psychiatric institution and Ginsberg himself was institutionalized for 8 months. So this poem describes his experience and for mental illnesses along with Cora Solomon. So this marks a new phase in poetic development, characterized by complete freedom of expression. The stream of consciousness style indicates that much of a poem is futile to look for intentionally logical connections or ideas. And in particular with Whitman, the transcendentalists are trying to prove the pure state of spirituality that transcends the material world. And this is shared also in the Beat movement by this rejection of materialism and external authority. Howl is a confession. It has humor, but it also had a lot of social critique and prophetic vision. It is not very conventionally grammatically speaking, but it perfectly reflects the rebellious attitude expressed in this poem. It has symbolism, it has a lot of irony. They didn't like how romanticism were being expressed, so they were anti-establishment and pro-self. They turned their backs on literary convention, using experimental forms and informal styles based on a spontaneous speech or streams of consciousness. And Howl was the first work to bring the beat culture and values to the notice of the general public.